When it comes to understanding the bevel in HardOps, I first recommend, of course, take a moment and read the tooltip. We see that general click will add a bevel modifier or allow us to adjust it. Basically, control clicking will add a new bevel at 30 degrees. Control shift will add a new one at 60 degrees, and then shift clicking will allow us to bypass scale. Sometimes the rare situation will come up where you're overriding scale, but you need to adjust your bevel, and so shift clicking will allow you to do that. Basically, other than that, it gets only more complex from here once we get into the modal itself. But in context of subdivision conversion, it's relatively simple. For example, if we were to just draw a box, draw another box, and then go inside our Q menu, we will begin adding a nice bevel to the mesh. We can press 1 in order to basically jump to the default settings that work best as far as auto smooth and bevel is concerned. This is my default state for generally working inside of Boxcutter. Or HardOps, I will go inside and just reset the settings to default off the bat whenever I'm using bevel to just get a nice arc and a good flow. But arc will of course cause a few normal deviations, which always causes me to follow up with a little bit of alt-clicking sharpen to add a weighted normal. However, in the context of subdivision conversion, we're kind of going in a different direction. So if we press Q and we go back into bevel, we could press Z in order to look at the wireframe. But if that's not actually needed, if we were to press 3, we can actually change the bevel to what I call a subdivision conversion bevel, and from here begin modifying it. So we just click and apply, and we're done. We can now go under add modifier, add a triangulate, and at this point, just pressing Control 3, we're able to survive subdivision. However, we see that it didn't work so well in this area. Let's press Alt V, activate our wireframe, and just see what we have going on. And we see that such hacks are just not suitable in every condition. So in order to make this work, we'll probably need to make a succession. So let's use Everscroll to recall this one particular boolean, and just by moving it back a little bit, we can relax this particular area and perhaps get a better solution. But let's also try going back into the bevel and either tightening it up or adding additional segments to reinforce our decisions to see if we can get something a little bit more behavioral with this particular result. And we see that that's actually a little bit better. However, we could even go in edit mode and assist the solution if we wanted to hack it along just to get something even more satisfactory whenever it comes to managing these. In fact, sometimes I don't even like having the double reinforcement happening with edges, so I'll go in and try to reduce it back to 2, and we see that we're now able to survive. Let's actually move our shape back where we had it, even though it's insignificant. And now, because of the assistance that we gave it in edit mode with the additional guidance edges, we're able to guide the triangulate solution just a little bit better for this conversion into subdivision. So really, whenever it comes to subdivision, it's a really basic process to get there. For example, if we just delete that cube, bring in another cube, and we do this exact same thing again, this time without messing around, we could just go inside of bevel, press 3 in order to add a subdivision bevel, lower the amount of width in order to reduce the amount of overlap if you see it happening right in front of your face, and then from here just go and add a triangulate modifier, press Control 2, and we have our mesh able to be subdivided. But we see that once again we have artifacting happening in random areas because subdivision is a cruel auditor. You can't just go in and play games with it. It's going to require a little bit of additional guidance sometimes in order to give it an optimal solution. So now we go back and look at it, and just with a little bit of assistance we were able to survive this operation. However, we still see that some areas just aren't going to work out. So I'm actually curious in why this particular area did not work out. And we see that it doesn't work out no matter what. So whenever it comes to the troubleshooting process, I will shift click Everscroll, and that will take me into modifier scroll, which is also in the Q menu whenever booleans are present. If I roll the wheel forward, we begin scrolling through the particular modifiers as they are on the mesh, and we see where the problem happens at this moment. Let's press Alt V and look at the face orientation, and we see that our face orientation is looking good. However, there should be some sort of guidance happening in this area in order to ensure that our bevel works out. So for some reason this edge terminates that solution, causing it to fall short. So tricky bevel. However, being able to get in and troubleshoot it is definitely part of the benefit that we aspire for whenever it comes to using our tools. So Let's just scroll through and we see that we get something a little bit better, and now we've basically survived subdivision. So even the process of failure in something as silly as this can still be examined, and you can bring it to an acceptable resolution if you just keep calm and just try to get analytical with what exactly is happening with your mesh, because we try to provide the tools to provide that sort of workflow.